Hey guys, it's Bex. Welcome to another video, another monthly TBR video using my trusty little TBR jar. I did refill the prompts. It was just looking really sad, so it doesn't look like a lot still, but there's like 50 prompts in here. I'm pretty sure there's quite a few. Some are new, some are old from before. I've pulled them before, but hopefully we get some good ones. And you probably also noticed that I have 2 new books on my TBR that weren't on there last month, and that is The Things Gods Break and Alchemy of Secrets. I literally just got The Things Gods Break in the mail today. It's a new release, and that was perfect because I realized that I needed to film this video today, and I'm extremely excited about both of those, so those are definitely going to be on my radar. And other than that, November is like the last month I feel like I can read fall books, so we're gonna be trying to get a couple more, although I honestly don't have that many. I will say that these 2 shelves are definitely my priority. I want to read these books the most. I cannot talk. Oh, and I also wanted to mention I was going to say 2 books that I'm not going to be choosing from prompts that I already know I'm going to be reading this month, but I actually only know one of them so far because I just realized that I haven't spun my physical TBR wheel yet for the month of November, which I usually do right before filming this video so that I know and I can tell you guys what it is, but I will definitely do that before the end of this video. And then I will just make sure that I take off the books that I will have chosen on my monthly TBR from the wheel so that I obviously don't get a repeat, because that's kind of like cheating because it's already on my TBR. But the one book that I do have to talk about right now that's going on the TBR is my book club book, and that is Hamnet by Maggie something maybe, I don't know. And I honestly don't know much about that, except I think it has to do with Shakespeare. I just know that the book club chose it and it's going to be made into a movie, or it has been made into a movie, but it's going to be released, I think, this year. So I actually decided that I would just tell you guys what it's about and look it up on my Kindle, because that's literally no information and I don't even know if that information is right. Okay, it is by Maggie O'Farrell, and let's just read the blurb. So it says, England, 1580, the Black Death creeps across the land, an ever-present threat, infecting the healthy, the sick, the old, and the young alike. The end of days is near, but life always goes on. A young Latin tutor, penniless and bullied by a violent father, falls in love with an extraordinary, eccentric young woman. Agnes is a wild creature who walks her family's land with a falcon on her glove and is known throughout the countryside for her unusual gifts as a healer, understanding plants and potions better than she does people. When she settles with her husband on Henley Street in Stratford-upon-Avon, she becomes a fiercely protective mother and a steadfast centrifugal force in the life of her young husband, whose career on the London stage is just taking off when his beloved young son succumbs to sudden fever. So am I making up the Shakespeare part? I mean, it's talking about the stage and all of that. So even though this doesn't talk about Shakespeare, I feel like I remember something about that. Oh yeah, okay. Oh! Someone's review says that this is the story of Shakespeare's young son, Hamnet, who dies from the plague as a child. So yes, it does deal with Shakespeare in that form. I was pretty sure something about it dealt with Shakespeare. So that is the first book that is already on our TBR, but I don't own physically because I'm going to be borrowing it from the library. But with that being said, I think I am going to only choose 5 prompts. I was going to say I would choose 6 maybe, but with that book and then whatever book we choose from our wheel, that'll already be 7 books, which is probably around my average amount of books I read a month. Sometimes I read like 9, sometimes I read like 6. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and choose our first prompt. Oh, it's long. Let's see. Book by an author whose first or last name starts with the first letter of my first name. Okay, I already know one. So my first name is Rebecca, starts with an R, so the author's first or last name can start with an R. I did that just to make sure that I would have books that match the prompt, you know, but the author I already know of that does is Rosaria Munda, which is right here. Fairy Song, which is the 3rd and final book in the Aurelian Cycle trilogy. So let's see. R. Taylor Jenkins Reid. Okay, that's a good one. Another Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I have 2.
Neil Schusterman, Frederick Bachman. No. Kristen Sigrelli, no.
I never have very many for some reason. R is like not popular. I don't know. Yeah, no, that's really it. So we have two options. We have either of the Taylor Jenkins Reid books, Atmosphere or The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, or we have Fury Song, and I'm going with Fury Song. I'm so excited to read this. It is finishing a series. That's good. And I love the series so much. Both books so far have been 5 stars, and I liked the second one even more than the first one. If you don't know, the first book is called Fireborn, and the second book is called Flamefall. I'm like nervous and just so excited to finish out this series because I don't know what's gonna happen. It is extremely high stakes. If you don't know, this is a young adult fantasy series. It has a little subplot of romance, and it is about these dragon riders basically who like bond to these dragons, and in the first book a war is kind of looming. You're following these very young dragon riders. They're like 17 years old, kind of climb the ranks, I guess you can say, to become kind of the protectors of this land. This series just delves so deep into morality, rights and wrongs, what's the right decision when there aren't really any good decisions. It's like the lesser of two evils. Yeah, I'm obsessed with this series. Please read it. I really hope I love this one just as much as the other two. Okay, yay! I was like honestly hoping I would get that one because I almost picked it last month. I wanted to focus on fall specific books more in October. Oh no, first book in a series. I'm just kind of trying not to start a new series right now. Because, you know, we're nearing the end of the year and the goal is to try to finish series I'm in the middle of. I just saw the perfect book for this. Okay, so we have Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. It is going to be a series, I believe a trilogy, but at least a duology. And that one just came out, which is a little less intimidating, starting a series that isn't complete yet. The other one that I have that is also in that same vein is Watch Me by Tara Mafi. However, the second book comes out sooner than the next Alchemy of Secrets book. I think it comes out in like March or April. So those both would be good options. And other than that, we have a couple. Yeah, we have Beartown Scythe, A Winter's Promise, Kingdom of the Wicked, A Dawn of Onyx, When the Moon Hatched, Uglies, The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, Artificial Wisdom. We have quite a few, but I think we're going to go with this book, and I'm so excited. I'm so glad that one of the prompts matched this book, because I'm just saying right now, I was gonna read this book anyway. Okay? If you know me or my channel, you know that I love Stephanie Garber so much. She is probably my favorite author, or top 2 favorite authors. I love her writing, and this is her adult debut, and this is more, it still is fantasy, but she has said herself that it's more magical realism than fantasy, I think. And it's also kind of, it's very genre bending, because she's also said it's kind of like a thriller and a mystery with some romance, and then obviously like fantasy magical realism all in there combined into one book. And I love that. That sounds so interesting. This follows this girl, what's her name again? Holland, who has always been convinced that magic is real. When she tracks down a local legend named the Watchman, who can supposedly tell you when you'll die, the world finally makes sense, except that the Watchman tells her she will die at midnight tomorrow, which, by the way, tomorrow is Halloween, unless she finds an ancient object called the alchemical heart. With the clock ticking, Holland is pulled deeper into this magical world in the heart of Los Angeles and into the path of a magnetic stranger. Everything about him feels like a bad idea, but he promises Holland that her sister sent him to protect her. As they chase clues and stories that take them closer to the alchemical heart, Holland realizes everyone in this intoxicating new world is lying to her, even this stranger. And if she can't figure out whom to trust, not even the alchemical heart will save her. And I've heard mostly good things about it so far, especially from fans of Stephanie Garber. So since I am a fan, I just think I'll love it. I just love her writing. That is the third book going on our November TBR. Off to a good start, because those are both 5-star predictions for me, to be honest, or very highly rated predictions. So let's keep this going, shall we? Ooh, book with a 5-word title. Okay, 5 words. The Irresistible no. Ooh, oh, that's 4. The Things Gods Break. Dang it, I was really excited to read that one too. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, no. Kingdom of the Wicked's 4. No. Why is 5 words so hard? I feel like you either get 4 or 6. Dang it. The Queen of Nothing, Watch Me. Rebel Witch. Am I blind? I don't think I have any. Let me check my Kindle. Even though I've been reading kind of a lot of my Kindle lately and I want to focus more on my physical TBR, but that's okay because some of the books I've had on my Kindle downloaded for so long and I need to read them too. Wait. Yes! Okay, I just found one. The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson. We're going with that one. I've been meaning to read this book anyway because it is also finishing out a series and it's on my fall TBR. And as I said, we're getting close to the end of fall reading. So it is the 3rd book in the Truly Devious series. That works out perfectly because I've just been dragging this series out over now 3 years. Sorry, my cat's being really loud. Because I've read 1 book every year in like the fall. So we need to just get it done. They're pretty short. They're YA mysteries and it follows this girl Stevie who gets accepted in the 1st book to this prestigious academy, Ellingham Academy. There's only a couple students that get accepted and they each have their own kind of little, not really talent, but for lack of a better word, I guess talent, and hers is true crime. She's a true crime aficionado. Her kind of project this year is to figure out what happened with an old cold case where the founder of Ellingham Academy's wife and daughter went missing all these years ago, and then also while she's there a death occurs, and so she's kind of trying to figure out both mysteries at the same time. I'm really liking the series so far, so that will be the 4th book and hopefully the only one we added from the Kindle. But as I said, that one has been on my TBR and on my Kindle for a long time, so I'm glad to have added that one. 2 more prompts. This always goes by so fast. This is my favorite thing to do every month, my favorite video to film. I just love everything about it. A book with pink on the cover. Okay, pink is not very autumnal or wintry. Let's see. This one has pink on it and I am very excited to read this. The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. Does this one have pink? Honestly, I mean, yes, but not very much. This is mostly orange. Yeah, and then the other one, probably the only other one, is Watch Me, which definitely does have pink. Oh, every time I look at this cover, I love it. It's so pretty. This one is starting a new series though. So as I said before, especially since we're starting Alchemy of Secrets, we're not going for that one. So that means we're between these 2. But like I said, I feel like this one barely counts at all. So I think we're gonna go with The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. I can't really remember what this is about, except that it is romantasy. It's not very long, so I'll just read it. When Oscar Mordaunt, member of the Firen Order of Assassins, falls ill, he realizes he needs the expertise of a very specific healer. As fate would have it, that healer belongs to an enemy faction, the Halen Order. Orienne Fairharim and her fellow Halen are inundated by sick children suffering from an outbreak of a previously long-forgotten pox. Unable to get the funding needed to launch an immunization program, the Halen Order is desperate for money, so desperate that when Ostrich breaks into their headquarters to bribe Orienne to heal him, she is forced to accept. As Ostrich and Orienne work together to solve not only his illness but the mysterious reoccurrence of the pox, they find themselves ardently denying their attraction, which only fuels the tension between them. It is a duology. Oh, I just realized that I was like, we're not doing Watch Me because it's the start of a new series. And so is this one. However, this one has come out more recently than this one, and as I just said, it is only a duology, and I believe this one's going to be more. So sometimes my logic does make sense, okay? The duology also is called the Dearly Beloved duology, and that is so cute to me. And look at this end paper is so cute. I just love the aesthetic of this book, like the name of it, the cover. I don't know. I'm really excited about it. The little blurbs on it are really good. It says that it's funny, swoony, will they, won't they, slow burning romance. This is going to be the 5th book going on our November TBR. Okay, we only have one more, and then we still have to do our wheel. Ooh, book that is on my 25 in 2025. Can I remember this off the top of my head? I'm pretty sure that Atmosphere, which I haven't put away yet, is on there. I think Rebel Witch. Is Rebel Witch on there? Let me just go grab my reading journal that has the list because I can't quite remember. I know that I don't have very many books left on it though. I've done really good this year. Rebel Witch and Atmosphere are. And then Ruthless Vows, which I also have on my Kindle. A Dawn of Onyx, which is down here, but it's the start of a new series. And then The Naturals, which is also the start of a new series that I also don't own. It is on Kindle Unlimited, and I just don't think I need to start that series right now. So I do think we're between, I honestly should probably pick Rebel Witch. One, because it's kind of fall-ish because it's about a witch, and it is finishing a series. And how long has this book been out now? A year? Maybe not quite, but getting close to a year, I think, and I've had it just as long. I liked the first book, Heartless Hunter. I think I rated it like 4.25 stars. It wasn't like an absolute favorite, but I still liked it. But for some reason, maybe it's because I've kind of heard mixed things about this one, but I think we're gonna go with this one. I do really want to read Atmosphere, but I've had this one longer. It's finishing a series. Do I ever remember what it's about? The first book follows Rune and Gideon. Rune is a witch, but she's kind of a secret witch, and she's also like a vigilante, because she kind of lives undercover to get information on what the witch hunters, aka Gideon, are doing, the information that they have, because they're trying to hunt witches, and she, being a witch and also believing that that is wrong, tries to kind of get to the witches first to stop them. That's kind of the gist, very brief and vague. It's honestly been a little bit since I read the first book, but I think I'll be able to jump in pretty well. Okay, now I'm going to film my physical TBR wheel video because I always put those on TikTok and as a short, and then I will come back and tell you guys what book that is, and we will officially add that to our November TBR, and then we'll finish out this video. Okay, hopefully I'm kind of in the same spot. I'm probably not, but the last book that's going on our TBR that I just spun my wheel for is The Wicked King by Holly Black, which is the second book in the Folk of the Air trilogy. So I'm not mad at this because this is continuing a series, and I do want to read this before I go too long since I read the first book, because now it's been a couple months at least, and they're pretty short. They're YA. It is a fantasy with tiny little subplot of romance about this girl, Jude. When she was 7, her parents were murdered, and her sisters were taken to the High Court of Fairy, and pretty much everyone there is a fairy, and they don't like humans, especially one of the princes, Prince Carden, and all she wants to do is belong there. But in order to win a place at court, she has to defy him and face the consequences. That's kind of the plot of the first book, so we're just continuing on. Really excited about this one, and that is the 7th and last book going on our November TBR. All right, guys, that is my November TBR, and I'm just now realizing that it's literally all series. Majority is continuing a series or finishing a series, but there's also 2 beginnings of series, but that's okay. I do read a lot of series, so I'm not really surprised. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm excited about all of these books. As usual, let me know if you've read any of these and what your thoughts were, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!